Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the March 14th Tridium Talk. We're going to be introducing you today to some of the exceptional content that's available on the Niagara Marketplace. And we appreciate everyone joining us today. So we're going to start off just with a quick overview of the marketplace, just to refresh everyone what our mission is and what our goal is to provide on the marketplace. And then I'll be turning it over to Marcelo from Alvasys Automation, who will be discussing their open weather driver, along with doing a demo of using it within Niagara. And then I'm going to hand it over to Aaron from Hawkeye Energy Solutions, and he'll be sharing Hawkeye's visual HVAC driver, the information about the driver, as well as a demo. During the presentations, if you have any questions, feel free to use the Zoom chat. That's how we'll be answering questions today. So you can ask right within the Zoom application, and then the presenters will answer them as we go. And if time permits and there's any additional questions that are not answered, we will conclude the session with any open questions that may be there that need to be answered. And anything else that comes up question-wise. But there will not be an opportunity to ask. There will not be an open session for people to ask questions. There's a lot of people actually joining this. So all of the questions will be managed through the chat feature. So yeah, and anything that's not answered during the session will actually be, we will follow up afterwards with you directly. So real quick, my name is Bob Neubaum. I am the offering manager for the Niagara Marketplace. We relaunched the Niagara Marketplace in its current version, April of 2022. We've grown at this point to have about 100 pieces of content from about 20 different developers. And the goal of the marketplace is to be able to help our developers go to market and reach the entire Niagara community of integrators, building owners, and anyone else that might be interested in these, what I'll call accelerators. The content's designed to help you go to market faster with your Niagara solutions and increase the overall value of the applications or of your final application or your final integration. So we've really spent a lot of time creating a platform that makes it easy for developers to list their solutions, and those that are consuming it make it easy. We want to make it easy for you to find it, purchase it, and license it all within a single platform. So the platform has Niagara licensing built in, and oftentimes for a lot of content, there's actually even a try and buy functionality, which you'll be able to find content, provide a host ID, which you want to test with. You'll set up your transaction to execute after the trial is complete. And then you can get started with an integration, essentially testing it before the purchase. During that try and buy period, you will actually have about 7 days to cancel the transaction if it's not working for you. So I encourage everyone to go afterwards and check out all of the content that's available on the marketplace. And if you have content you've created that could make another integrator's life easier, feel free to read on the marketplace. You can actually choose the sell function, and you can jump right in and request to become a seller. So again, just encourage everyone to go to NiagaraMarketplace.com and check it out. So with that, I will hand it over to Marcelo from Alvasys Automation to discuss his integration. So Marcelo, you can grab the screen and start sharing.
Hello?
Yes, gotcha.
Grab it? Cool, okay. Hi all together, my name is Marcello Meriano. I work for the company Alvasys Automation, now that is 5 years. Yeah, we are really a huge fan about the Niagara solution because it's open and we can have a lot of functionality inside. First, we have the headquarters in Zurich, in Zurich, in Switzerland, and one stock in Constance, Germany, for the clothes region, the German market. We have different brands in our sub-portfolio. Of course, the Niagara brand, we're offering the supervisor and the chase controller and the add-ons software solution. Of course, the ISMO products, the ISMO Controlli brand is very close and very complete whole brands from Tridium Niagara, and different products, Fidelix IO, LoRaWAN, BACnet solution modem, mesh network, an ocean solution, and the control panels that we sell to the market. On the marketplace, we have different solutions. We have the SMS driver. Maybe when we have time, I can show you how it works. The open weather solution, the SBOS driver for SPC, PLC, backup RDS driver to connect directly to the PLC and the SPC driver for alarm handling. And then we have solutions well, it's not available on the marketplace. That's for our clients. The hail protection that we do for some blind solution, Danfoss driver for special system, HTTPS certificate for the browser reflow and charts and much more. Then we have products from our clients. The special, when they buy the license from us, they can have this license, these features, the Sankey diagram that you can show the energy flow, some special FTP drive files, CSV exporter from the system, the BACnet ADE import export. That's a very cool functionality. You can import, export value from the Niagara BACnet network and put this on the Excel sheet and import to the system. Yeah, and different field device we have free of charge and for logic blocks we have done. And special on this we have the frame network. The frame you can show the navigation very easy and looks and feel a little bit fresh on the screen. And of course we have templates done for air handling units. To push these templates is based on the templating on the Niagara platform. Air handling units, hot water, heating roofs, graphics is in the block and logic, and much more we have done for the clients. That is easy to use the Niagara framework. Yeah, have a look on the demo, live demo. We start with the open weather. When we have time, the SMS driver and the PLC solution. Depends on time. Huh? Okay, I switch over to the Niagara workbench. I hope you see it. So you have the open weather driver. This one. You see the open weather map. Here is the basic, all data is stored here, and we collect the data from open weather service. For the service, you need the startup solution because we have done some special forecast for this wire. And for the cities, it's a lot of city you have on the portfolio. Here, this Kulam, this headquarter from Tridium. You can copy it or put the other from Zurich here. You see the weather here. that you need for the weather request. So I switch over to the workbench. Very easy. You put the open weather driver here. Here it's change the view. The update period you can change. 5 minutes is now put in. Maybe for a weather forecast you can do some other changes. Depends on the polling rate. On this, you can put a new open weather provider. It's easy. Here now is empty. Maybe you must configure first. Here. So, the API key that you provide from the open weather. I will copy this from my desk. And then you have the program. This one is here. Okay. Save. And then you can do the thing. The value will pop up. The current value, you have some different value inside: temperature, state, humidity, chill, and so on. You can use this because it's a data point in the Niagara framework, and you can use this in your logic. You have the forecast that this is the current day, 1 day forecast, 2 day, 2 6 day. And the coolness, you have here the 1 hour prediction temperature in 6 o'clock. Here in the Fulham, you have the value here, and you can use it. Super easy. And you can, when you have more, you can put here more additional weather provider here. I will configure it. Maybe put the same here inside from US. Why not? There we go. Update weather. And here we go. Very easy, very cool. It's not a lot of engineering time you need. I think I have a little bit of time. I show you now the SMS driver. Look and feel the same. You put the SMS driver here in. There we go. Then you configure this SMS driver. Put the IP address in. The admin user. It costs more from the router. So you need here a piece of hardware that the Tonica router supported or the route tested 240, 950, 955, 956, and other ones. Yeah. So, okay. This put in, I will do a ping. Okay. You see, this is inserted, the SIM card is inserted, signal quality is here, and here below you can configure the SMS limit, how much you want to send out per day, and here is the message number that you can put a message back to acknowledge. So that's it, that is the service. And go here to the alarm service, you have to re-steepen. This is the alarm service. You can put here the alarm service, you go connect the alarm class here. And here you can give the new user inside, the owner, the mobile number. And you can configure them. Check this out. I prepared something here. Type in again. Here's the user. And the message text that we have. It's the same like the email service you have on the Niagara email service. It's exactly the same. Tours them, and a lot of things. And here's the help. The UID, you need this because it's for acknowledged alarms. You need this UID to send back to the system. So it's done, configure it. I add only a small alarm. They go in, here's the alarm. Go to this alarm is SMS receiving, go to the service, they will send out the device here, and then we'll show you the alarms like this. Source, the name, timestamp, state, priority, alarm, and when you want to acknowledge the alarm, you must send the UID back, this one. And that's it. And then we'll come back to the system and the alarm will acknowledge. Very easy and so I think that it's ready. Now we have a little bit of time to throw the other driver, the Espo's driver.
Marcelo, when you added the hardware, the IP address, what was that? What were you adding that for?
Yeah, you need this for the Tonica route. SMS.
Is that the gateway? Okay.
So you need a router. There's insert the SIM card because we communicate directly to this router. We have done the drive for this Teltonica router.
I see. Thank you.
Cool. Okay. Okay. Maybe I have a little bit more time. I'll show you the Espo's driver. It's the Espo's driver network. But normal Niagara is not very special. You put here the Espo's driver network, then you have an Espo's device, put here the IP address. You need a PLC, and it's connected here on the Espo's driver. And then you have the Discover button. You have the export file if needed from the PG5. You can do a VC Plus export, and this generate the RP file here. And then this here, okay, it's VC Plus export. You can search the database, and then you can add the data points. These are communication data points in the Espo's driver. You can collect and put them and down to the database, and then we communicate. Super easy. It's not very complicated. When you have the files, then you can put in, and then it's worked. So very short overview. I think I'm done. I hope that when you have any questions or other stuff, type in the chat or ask me a question through email or whatever. I think it's fine. Okay. Thanks a lot. I'll pass it over to you.
Yep. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So, yeah, it's very, very good. And with that, I'm going to hand it back now to Aaron from, whoops. Yeah, and again, just quick reminder, any questions you have, please use the chat function within the web conferencing software. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Aaron from Hawkeye, and they'll be presenting their visual HVAC solution.
Hello. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay.
You can also just grab the screen whenever you're ready.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you, Aaron.
Okay. So thank you everyone for the opportunity to be here today. Super excited to show everybody about this product that we launched. It's been a work in progress for a little bit, but we just launched it probably maybe 3 or 4 months ago on the Niagara Marketplace. So a little bit about Hawkeye before we get started. Hawkeye was founded in 2008, really with the core mission of developing visualization and analytical solutions in the utility metering and operations space. And we still do a lot of that today, but we also do a lot of custom software development. And one of the platforms that we love to develop on is the Niagara framework. We've been developing in Niagara for over 10 years now. And we just, started to launch our first products over the last year. This next slide really just kind of gives an overview of the different products that we have on the marketplace. And they're really kind of grouped into 2 buckets. One is sort of new tools for your station to basically add enhancements and add-ons and things that can really set you apart and differentiate what you're doing in the marketplace. And then the second one is more bucketed around the idea of advanced visualization. So these are new ways to use data to visualize your equipment, your systems, and find ways to improve efficiency and get context within that system. We are going to spend the majority of our time talking about visual HVAC, but before we did that, I wanted to just do a brief overview of some of these other products. This was our first product we launched in the marketplace, Station Health. This is a drag and drop service to track the core health of your station. So it runs behind the scenes on a separate thread, on a Jace or on an edge controller, anything that's got Niagara running on it. This Station Health is very useful. Analyzes roughly about 100 different variables behind the scenes, and then rolls it up into a KPI and a fully functioning report. So lots to talk about there, but just that's a brief overview. The second thing that we have on the marketplace also is Ticket Tool. This is a service ticket application that is built right into Niagara. So right from Niagara, an end user can submit a service ticket, describe the problem. He can include the ORD to the graphic that you're having an issue with, and then also upload a screenshot of that graphic right within Niagara so that you can easily share this information that's happening across an organization. And then also just recently released the Niagara Notes application. This is a dynamic responsive messaging and notes application within Niagara. So this is an overlay onto any Niagara system, whether it's a Chase or a supervisor, and you can relativize notes on equipment, tag and sort, and also communicate within the users of the Niagara user database issues that you're having across the system. So I'm super excited about that. That just launched just a couple days ago. And then finally, the one we're going to dive into a little bit more today is Visual HVAC. This is really like a Google Street View like application that's built right into Niagara. So it's an application that allows you to view your system a little differently than just looking at 2D graphics. And so it allows you to take 360-degree images, process them, and insert them right into any Niagara environment. And then on top of that, you can add all this metadata and context data right over the real images of this space, whether it's an office space, whether it's a mechanical room. And so we want to go through a little bit more detail in terms of how this is really configured in depth, and we'll get into a live demo in just a minute. Really, what I try to tell people is, I know the word is probably a little bit overused of digital twins, but we kind of call this, step into a practical digital twin, in the sense that a lot of digital twin solutions, the lift to get them installed can be pretty high, but with this, literally with a camera and maybe a day's worth of work, you can basically have this up and running at any site. So within Visual HVAC, there are two concepts to start thinking about how it's put together. And that is, there are scenes and then there are tours. So a scene is a 360-degree image, and a tour is a collection of scenes. And so that's the basis of kind of how the module is put together. The pricing for this module is based on number of scenes, so the number of images that you want to bring in. And obviously, one scene is really cost effective, and as you scale up to unlimited, the cost goes up. The components are pretty simple. We have a pallet that can be dragged into any Niagara station, and basically you just take the tour service out of the pallet and you install it into your services container. Really, no additional configuration is needed. Once the tour service is in there, then you would then add individual tours underneath that tour service, and then name those tours for whatever you want them to be. You could have a tour for each floor, you could have a tour for each room, you could have a tour for each floor of a building. really you can kind of slice and dice how you would want people to, visually walk through a facility and get this context. Once that's configured in Workbench, once you have the module installed, and you got the tour service added, and you've added your first tour, you now then can switch to browser configuration to do the rest of the configuration of Visual HVAC. So you don't really need Workbench to do this. We've made this super easy, intuitive way to be able to get in here and add scenes and add data overlays and link back to subscribable points within Niagara. And so this is really where the majority of the work takes place in configuring the product. But before we can actually add scenes to an existing tour, one of the things we have to do is actually process the 360-degree images so that the 360 viewer can interpret them as a person pans around and tries to walk through a facility. The good news is that we spent a lot of work and effort to build that image processing right into Niagara. So you don't have to process your images with a separate application. You take the 360 image from a variety of different camera technologies provide this. And you can do the image processing right here. Once the image is processed, it's saved to your station database, and then you can configure your scene from there. When you configure a scene, you basically have 4 different options of adding data or navigational links or hyperlinks to your Visual HVAC scene application. The most advanced one is called the card hotspot, and that's the one I've highlighted down here. So when you add your scenes and then you start adding data and linking documents and adding note features and things like that in here, you'll start by just clicking each of these buttons, and we'll go through the live demo in a minute. It'll make a little bit more sense. But the card hotspot, you can do a data table, you can link to your regular PX graphics, you can link to a downloadable file, and you can also link out to a website with the card hotspot. And this is kind of what the card hotspot configurations. This is the web editor view where you're able to do some configuration. We'll go through that. And then in the end, this is a very simple example that can be more built out, but this is sort of what the card hotspot sort of looks like. The next thing you can do is you can add a link hotspot, and a link hotspot is how you link from scene to scene to scene. So if you're in a 360 environment, you're spinning around and you're looking at things and you want to navigate to another part of the room, you need to configure these link hotspots and then tell the system when somebody clicks on this, what's the next scene that they're moving to. And then we have a basic info hotspot right now. And this is a very simple hotspot. This is one where basically you can add a data tag. And then you also have the option of, you can add an informational tag just with text. And then optionally to that, you can actually have real-time subscribed data being populated right underneath that tag. So it's a great way to add just, real simple information describing what things are in the room, maybe what temperature they are, or whether they're on or off. And so that is the info hotspot. And this is what the info hotspot configuration looks like. And then we also have a way to set your initial view. So this is a concept of, when you navigate to another location, what's the first view you want somebody to see? Do you want them to be pointed left, right, up, down? And so we have this ability within this software to basically give you the option of telling people where to look once they move from space to space. And so those are really the ways that you can configure data into Visual HVAC, and I'll go through a demo here in a minute. Finally, before we get to the demo, how do you link, or how do you access Visual HVAC from your standard Niagara environment? So from any Niagara instance, whether it's in one of the advanced graphical packages that are on the market, or whether it's standard PX, HTML viewed graphics, you can add a hyperlink anywhere on those existing graphics, whether it's a floor plan or whether it's an equipment overview or a dashboard. and you can link right to the tour service to where you want people to start for that tour. And so from an integration perspective, it's really seamless, and it's going to seem very familiar to how regular navigation sort of works within Niagara. Okay, so with that, I'm going to move into the live demo. So what I have is just a basic, I'm going to go right to the web editor. What I have is a basic, station running on my local machine here. And you can see I've got my tour service right here. And underneath of it, I've got 2 tours configured. The top tour I've named for the boiler room, and the bottom one I have for an air handler. When you double click on any of these, they take you right to the actual tour that you've been working on and developing. So this is how the end user is going to see and experience this tour. And so I've got this one set up for a basic small boiler room. I was using some of those examples in the presentation. And these are the link hotspots that we were talking about earlier. And so one of the things I'd like to go through is, how do you start, basically, a new scene. Maybe you want to get set up, or maybe you want to add a scene to an existing installation. And so for that, you've got to go to the tour config view, which is really simple. You right click on the tour and you go to tour config. If you're new to this and you haven't used the application before, we do have a little help guide that automatically pops up. You can certainly hide this so it doesn't pop up all the time. But this kind of help guide is also available up here if you ever need it. So on this particular tour that I have set up here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different scenes that I'm sort of working on right now. And if you want to add a new scene, all you do is you click add new scene and you give it a name. Let's say we want to try to bring in an air handler. I'm going to call this air handler, let's just call it air handler 4. And when it comes to image processing, what you can do is you can basically choose a file. So if you've already taken this 360-degree image, and you can choose a file and add it here. And then once it's there, you click make tile. And this image processing starts, and you kind of get an image preview of the tile that it's creating. When this gets to 100%, which usually takes, usually 10, 15 seconds about, it's ready for download. So once that's done, you hit the download button, and then it'll download it to your downloads folder. And from there, you move that tile package, which is basically a broken out number of images that the system has processed. You move that to your station directory, and that's where you can start adding scenes to the system. So one of the things that we are coming out with is a way to reduce a little bit of the effort involved with some of these steps, to be able to do these in bulk. And that's definitely on our roadmap to expedite some of this work. So now that that's there, basically I can come back. I could have just added it right there, but let's say you've already processed your images. You would go ahead and then you'd want to choose a file location. Sorry, unclick this. Now we're going to go right to where the processed file exists. And in this case, we're going to go to air handler tiles. And let's say I've got this processed for air handler 1. And I go ahead and I click add scene. And when I go ahead and I click add scene, it automatically adds the 360 view. I can begin to pan around and look around and see, did I make sure this image is good? Do I need to edit anything? And so now there I am. So I've got my first scene being put in here for an air handler, and what I can do now is begin to configure it. So what I like to do is sort of first set kind of the initial view, because it's really helpful when you're navigating back and forth. You don't have to pan around as much. So I'm just going to call this initial view air handler. go ahead and add that. Okay, so that's there. And then I go down into my scene configuration and I go ahead and set my initial view for this particular scene. So every time I go to this scene, this is exactly the what where you're going to be directed. Now that I've got that set, first thing I usually like to do is try to get the card hotspot enabled. So this is the configuration for the card hotspot. So you want to give it an equipment tag, and we'll just call this AHU1. You can give the card a title to, air handler. And then for the card, you can pick a number of icons. So you can search for, maybe you want to do like something with airflow, maybe. This might be fine. But there's a bunch of different icons that you can choose from. So once you've chosen that, then you can go ahead and choose the foreground color for that icon. You can choose the background color. So this is totally customizable to whatever your tastes are. And then you can begin to add data visualization and different buttons on this existing card. So one of the cool ones is the data table, because it allows you to get some real-time information whenever the card, populates. So let's say maybe we want to add our supply temperature. Okay, so go ahead and we can navigate right to the Niagara database, and we can go down and find where air handler is, and we can link in real data from there. Maybe we want to add another point. We want to know, what the return temperature of the air handler is. So we go down here again, navigate to where that location is, and select the return temp. So we're kind of building our data table. Maybe we want to add whatever you might be interested in looking at. Maybe you want chilled water valve, position. And we can go ahead and find this guy as well. Add him in there. Oh, average chilled water coil. And then, so that's how you would enable the data table. So when you're done with this, you can exit out. And what you need to remember to do is to save the project fairly frequently, because when you're making changes, you don't want to navigate away from this web page before hitting the save project. We also have a feature that you can back up the web configuration view completely. So this is really helpful as a sort of disaster recovery, or if there's any other issues. Of course, if you do a full station backup, that will suffice as well. But this is just something that is nice, that can be portable and moved from project to project if it helps save on the configuration time. But we do have that option there just to make sure that all this work that you're putting in doesn't accidentally get lost. So it's good to do that every once in a while as well. So now that we've got our data table set up and we've saved our project, we can then just double click on the boiler room. And let's say we're in the boiler room and we want to now navigate to that air handler. Let's say the air handler is on the other side of these boilers. So what I would do is I would go to the tour config view for the boilers. I would navigate into here. Come on. Okay, that doesn't work in tour config view, but you can basically click right through the scenes. So what I want to do is, if I'm in this view, so if I can get to here, okay, I want to be able to link to that air handler. So I have to add an additional link hotspot. Let's say we'll put them up over here. You can edit them, and we say we want to go right to the air handler. And then the initial view is I want it to go to the air handler. You can also set a rotation as well. So once that's configured, go ahead and save our project again. When we navigate to the boiler room, we can go here. And then now this is telling us, hey, if you click here, you're going to go to the air handler. So that's just an example of how you can kind of set up the dynamic navigation to kind of go to different parts. So this is our data table that we created. Supply temp, return temp. Looks like I didn't quite save it after I made the chilled water change. But this is just the basic, fundamental building blocks. In addition, we can go ahead and edit this even further. If we go to the tour config view, we can then go to the air handler and we can edit this a little bit further even. So let's say we wanted to do a graphic pop-up. Let's say that, and a really good example is on the boiler system, maybe not so much on this one. I don't think I have a view configured for this, but if we go to the boiler room here, what we have configured on this one already is a schematic and some other hyperlinks. So as an example, what you would do is if you wanted to add a download, like a service manual for a piece of equipment, you would simply enable the download and it would create it here. We're going to call this a service manual, and then you would navigate to a file that is in your station directory. Whether that's a PDF, a Word document, text file. Gotten a lot of interest from people that actually have linked training videos to this as well, so that when people need a training video on how to fix something with an air handler or a boiler, or if training manuals or training videos were provided as part of a construction project, folks are using this product to add those to the system as well. So that's how we do the download. And then the hyperlinks, pretty simple. You can go out to the web. In this case, I've hyperlinked out to a supply house link that actually has spare parts for that particular boiler. So if you want to see what spare parts might be available, you could do that. And then on the graphic hyperlink, this basically can pop up to whatever graphic that you're using on the system. So to kind of show you how some of that works, if we go back to the boiler room, we navigate in there. When we click on this, we get our card hotspot. The schematic pops up to your PX graphic schematic or wherever you want to see the different visualization on the system. So it's an easy way to kind of navigate back and forth from your 360 view of this is what this room looks like, but also give me some more information about what that system is actually doing. So that can be very helpful to kind of go back and forth between the two systems fairly easily. Like I said, the hyperlink can link you out to wherever you're buying your parts potentially, so you can see what's available and maybe you need to order a spare part. So that's helpful. And then finally, if we go back to the boiler room, you can download a service manual for this. This is a Lochinvar boiler. So you can have the service manual right there and ready to go for any kind of future information. I think we've all at times have been in mechanical rooms and needing to get cell service and needing to go out and find that manual, and is it shoved in a corner somewhere in the mechanical room? Am I looking at the right one? Is it the right model? So all that information can kind of be stored within Visual HVAC, and again, just allows that more contextual information to be useful. So we were configuring this card hotspot, and so we got a data table there. We certainly could configure that more, but I think that kind of goes over a lot of the different features that we have in this system. There'll also be a drop down for each tour, so that if you want a quick hyperlink and navigate back and forth between different views, you don't necessarily have to use the links and walk through every space. So I can easily jump right back to the boiler room #1 picture. I can navigate to the maintenance shop, if there's stuff in there that needs to be on Visual HVAC. And we can link out outside to where the chiller is, air-cooled chiller, obviously a gloomy day. But so this is another way to navigate. There are also some quick buttons down here. You can zoom in a little bit on pictures. You can zoom out. You can also set this on a 3D sort of standard rotation. This can be useful on kiosks and things like that if you're trying to draw attention to something. It can also be useful if there's a certain room that you have that that needs constant, kind of monitoring, and you kind of just want to be panning around it all the time. There's some critical applications where that can kind of be useful. So that's another feature, and that's pretty much it in terms of the configuration and the use of this thing. We do have a demo on our website, a full functioning demo that has a lot more features and things sort of built into it that you can kind of take a look at. And it basically has a lot more cards built out, a lot more functionality to display. We also kind of like doing these visual HVAC for control panels as well. It seems to be a very useful way to be able to have OEMs and things in there, and maybe even actually have like the schematic for the control system kind of handy and ready to go in case you're there for troubleshooting, and keeping that stored in that location. So yeah, there's a lot to do with visual HVAC. We do have a roadmap. We've got probably about 10 or 12 additional features that we should be releasing by the end of the year in terms of more advanced graphical interactions, more functionality increases, and a lot of things coming down the chute. So Bob, that's basically the presentation that I had that I wanted to go through. So
That's perfect. Thanks, Aaron. That's a great demo. I appreciate it. There is one question. I'm not sure. Just getting to that, there's a question about, will visual HVAC work with augmented reality glasses? And if not, is that on the roadmap?
Yeah, that's a great question. Currently, right now, it does not work with augmented reality glasses, but that is 100% on our roadmap. That is, that's been asked before, and it is something that we're working on.
Excellent. So with that, I think all the questions look like they've been answered. I saw Marcello had a question, and that he's already answered. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone for joining, and I'd especially like to thank Aaron and Marcello for presenting their solutions. And I just encourage everyone to check out the marketplace and all of the content that's available there. So with that, have a great day, and thank you, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you.